right, thank you for staying with us. There's a lot of feedback coming through and we want to tackle many other topics. We talk about politics and development and we wrap up with the BBI in just a bit. Let's see what you're saying online and on SMS. And Thomas Luangu says the second term started with a promising commitment to the Big Four agenda, not until the BBI took over. Now we are borrowing loans, going for rallies, and times are getting more harder for Njiku. Thomas, that's exactly what we're going to talk about.
We were just talking about, it's like he's looking into a conversation. Lazaro, good morning. Pro-BBI team should be more cautious with a surprise about turn by Tanga team. I think it is just another dangerous tactic of rocking a boat within.
All right, let's see what else you're saying. Isaac Mudusi says, with Tanga joining BBI campaigns, let's see for how long Atuoli will be relevant. I won't be surprised if the likes of Waiguru and Kamanda becomes irrelevant now. Whoever advised Murkomen to take that decision is a genius.
Genius in caps lock. Sam, you say the Tanga team have finally built the dice of courage and hold back to the flood of fear and are now for the BBI. Ha ha.
All right. Let's see what else you're saying on SMS here. 22422 is the SMS line. Kindly text your name and you are texting from. San Nixon from Kindaruma says Agony is watching this greed-based politics. Why it's never about Wanjiku's requirements like simply building bridges across rivers. Sad.
Yep. The BBI issue is losing its objective. Rather than building bridges, it is creating bigger bridges, creating high political temperatures, and making leaders lose focus on development. If the issue is not handled and are required, will we lose focus and direction? Kabisa.
Okay, Titus Tesoli says, tell David I was in Buhungu and people were ferried from villages and paid between 7,000 to 8,000 to fill the stadium. With unemployment and current financial state of Kenyans, who will not go? This is
a Kenyan on the ground from that in Kakamega.
Yes.
So David, that means the stadium was not full to capacity out of
it was
but out of yes, it was because they were paying.
I have been in politics long enough to know that yes, sometimes people are ferried to rallies, but to try and make it look like suddenly Atuoli or whoever mobilized has the capacity to get 50,000 humans into Buhungu Stadium, paying them 8,000 shillings each. It means 400 million was used to mobilize. It cannot happen. It has not happened before because politicians, by their very nature, are stingy. So get your facts right, and then you can pontificate. So that is that's a thought. If he got 7,000, I'd be very happy so that we know what that is about. But we are talking about surrender or strategy. I still insist that Kieleweke team have had to surrender. I think the president has been very clear that you cannot undermine me or undermine a process that I have put in place for the good of the country, just because you are obsessed with your hatred for Raila Odinga or because you deem this to be Raila's gateway to 2022, which some argue it could be, some think it is not. I have no view on that.
Okay.
What I hope doesn't happen is that the Kieleweke team, those few who will go to Mombasa, will not be booed. The people listening to me and watching us today, when the Tanga team arrive, clap for them like you did for Mudavadi and Wetangula. You know, celebrate them. Let them talk. Then they will be beaten hands down. Because the other thing could be, and that's why Mweke said it could be strategy, is they may decide to go there just to be kicked out so that they say, you see, which BBI is this that wants to bring the country together when they're that intolerant?
Okay. Joy.
So the organizers, the governors, Joho, Kingi, you know, all those coastal governors must rein in on their supporters and tell them if they should come, we are welcome. In fact, I hope they make a statement today as the organizers of that event and say, we have learned that our brothers who were lost have now been found. We welcome them with open hands to this process. Let us forge the nation forward.
Right. And Joy, Thomas, one of the viewers sent in a comment, and it's like he was literally listening into a conversation when we took this break. Big Four agenda, the hype was there. No one is talking about it today. Is BBI another political hype? Will it still be relevant a year from now?
If we peel back the mask on what BBI really is, if we leave it bare bones, BBI is supposed to be something that helped, because I think after that, if you ask me, after the handshake, the president and Honorable Raila didn't really know what they had done, So they'll ask, by the way, what is this thing? So they're like, okay, it's something to bring Kenya together. What does that mean? Give us 2 weeks. They came up with the 9-point agenda. Okay, so what do we do with this 9-point? This thing has just been, I think people have been making it up as they go along.
Right.
But now it's gotten to a place where it's become something. It's become a thing. And we are here wondering, okay, so what do we do with this thing?
Is it not just another political...
So it's become, let's make this to be about national unity. But as Jonathan has correctly pointed out, what it is ending up being is a political vehicle to heighten temperatures in build up to 2022. Be that as it may, what Thomas is saying is correct, because these rallies don't come for free. It's not cheap. What we are doing right now is not cheap. We are getting political mileage. We are making a point. We are building this consensus among our political class. But the people are not, it's not lost on the people, the fact that this is money that, did we budget for it or did we not budget for it? If you look at our last year's, or this financial year, because it's not yet ended, 800 million shillings is going towards paying, for 800 billion shillings is going towards paying national debt, the debt that we owe foreigners. We're in a place where, as a country, we are feeling a financial crunch. We are feeling a pinch. And we're seeing people being available to spend all this time and money and not be able to move the conversation forward. I have got to a place where, as a normal Kenyan, what I do want to see is our politicians indeed sharing the platform, but at the same time, when they share the platform, let them interrogate the other issues that are of interest to us as Kenyans. Because when it comes to breaking down the bare bones of the BBI, there are things in there that are actually of interest to Kenyans. And we actually want to see progress in some of the, especially inclusivity, electoral justice. Those are things that are still pending. But until the politicians get there, I agree with Thomas that honestly, Big Four would do more for Wananchi than BBI does. But right now, BBI, because it's front and center, we must deal with it before we go back to BBI.
And that's a brilliant conversation you're starting, because now we want to shift this to politics and development. In June 2017, this is what the president said. If elected in August 8th, 2017, number one, the Jubilee government will create 1.3 million jobs every year and work with every county government to establish at least one industry in every county. This I'm reading verbatim. 1.3 million jobs every year and work with every county government to establish at least one industry in every county. Gabriel, has that happened? Or are we just...
Let me tell you. And this one I'm going to be as clear as it can get. You know, we've always taken that when an administration says we are going to create jobs, we have actually put that down as per a head count. 1.3, okay, you government, yes, we need 1.3 jobs. It never happens like that. No way in the world will it happen like that. What the government does, and what administrations do, when I say the way I've focused, the way I have taken into account the sophisticates of the day, is that we have the ability to create 2-point-something million or 1-point-something million jobs, is by us putting up the infrastructure required so that me and you and Mweke here can capitalize on that infrastructure to create those jobs. For instance, some time back, it was taking, or you had one bus that was leaving Nairobi going to Mandera or Marsabit. Because the road was, nobody wanted to have their investment of a bus using that route because it was coming back in tatters. Today, with that road built, you are having about 8 buses a day. From 1 bus a week to 8 buses a day. Who owns those buses? It's not the government.
It's private enterprise.
It's private enterprise. But you see, that is employment created. People have capitalized on an infrastructure. Same thing with SGR, right? So we've always gotten it wrong. When the government says, you know what, we have looked at the statistics, and John can tell you, he was the DG Nairobi, he can tell you how employment is created. It's for them giving incentives to private sector so that they can hire young men and women who are coming out of colleges. And so at the end of the day, when you round off the domino effects, you find the 1.3 million jobs. So don't expect a place where the government, will do something and then you do a head count of 1 million jobs, Trevor. That will not happen. It never happens like that in the world.
All right. I was actually going to head towards Jonathan. Jonathan
has been in the system. So
yes, exactly.
It's been part of the system.
And here's the thing, Jonathan. If you look at the Jubilee Manifesto, if there are two brackets of individuals or people that were really centered on, that was women and young people. They're even the biggest voters as well. Now here's the thing, a lot of young people are feeling betrayed because these same politicians during election year come out and they say, young people, we're about you, we're going to create jobs, we will do ETC, come out and vote. Okay, young people come out and vote. But then the government ends up frustrating young people. Unemployment is a thing that affects more young people, affects young people than any other demography. Here's the thing, is there any hope for young Kenyans?
Yes, I think there is. There's always hope. Can I just take 20 seconds to conclude on BBI?
Yes.
Just 20 seconds. Number one, we spoke about heightening political temperatures. The strategy, really, from the handshake team is exactly that. Yeah, it happened in 2005 referendum. It was supposed to heighten the political temperatures towards 2007. That's why ODM was formed. It happened in 2010 with Constitution 2010. NASA tried to do it in 2015, but remember the signatures were refused. There were drawn cows and horses and rhinos. And now it's happening again. So you can see the trend. It's happened 3 times before. So the whole strategy is, how do you put the country in a political mood to create that tsunami for 2022? And that's the whole strategy behind it. Now, BBI is solely founded on inclusivity, bringing the country together. But it's created a divide between the handshake team, which is made of Kieleweke and NASA, and the Tanga team. So I think for BBI to work, actions speak louder than words. We need to see a handshake between the handshake team and the Tanga team, because somebody coined a word the other day, a sentence, kwa ground vitu ni different. So you can't say you're bringing people together, which is very noble, and the process is actually putting people apart.
Right, that's true.
Yeah. Now going back to your question, young people, I mentioned also in the BBI about the others that people found. What the BBI has done is given public participation an ear, so they've listened. And one of the things that was found out by the BBI team is that the young people of this country are feeling excluded from the system. That's one. Another thing that was found out, and that's why I say this is the most important part of BBI, is that public servants feel like they are giving Kenyans a favor when you go to get your ID or your passport, or you go to get a license for your business, or you go to do anything that would facilitate your life, a birth certificate, a marriage certificate. All these are given by government. Even when you go to court, it's all government. Yeah, and the government, what people are saying on the ground, that's what they told the BBI team, that people are saying, government officials and government employees feel like they're doing Kenyans a favor instead of serving them. So yes, there's a fundamental problem with that. Now, the president has made over time some very, very good policy decisions. Let's talk about the second term. Yeah, the second term started with the handshake, which was brilliant. What did that do? It cooled political pressures. So that was brilliant. And out of that, the BBI has come out, we've spoken about it. The second thing he did was Big Four agenda. Again, brilliant. He listened to the country, as he said during the 700 rallies, and he said the country needs food security, needs houses, needs healthcare, needs jobs. Yeah, which is brilliant. But what Gabriel has also mentioned is, once a policy statement is made by a president, it has to be implemented.
Yes.
And we are not seeing
the implementation
of it. That's why Big Four has not gotten traction, because you say, want to give our farmers food security, and then the food that the farmers are growing, you're importing.
So Jonathan, what do you tell young people who make majority of Kenya's population and a big chunk of voters? What do you tell them when empty promises, the promises that these politicians told these young people, we are for you, but later they are still empty promises, the stadiums, the laptops, the creating 1.6 million jobs, all empty promises that they stood and gave to young Kenyans?
You see, young Kenyans form the majority of voters in this country. And I think in the last election, 2017, we've seen the biggest amount of hooligans and goons elected to public office. These are the people who are supposed to be creating an enabling environment for you to get a job. Okay, we're just talking the truth as it is. Now, how do you elect a goon who has no idea how to empower you, no idea how to uplift your life and improve your standard of living or lower the cost of living? And then when they get into office, as soon as they are sworn in, you magically expect their goonism to go away, and all of a sudden they become policy-driven people who can drive the agenda to ensure your livelihood. It's not possible. So I think my advice to the young people is, when you're giving somebody a job, and you have every 5 years you get a chance to give somebody a job, can you give somebody a job, A, based on track record, B, based on capability, and C, based on integrity?
Right.
If you don't do that, then you're going to have that same cycle where you go to the elections, you elect goons who can't do the job, then as soon as they're in office, you say, oh, now we are poor because who you are tufanyi kazi. And the young people need to realize, I hear Miguna saying we need a revolution. We get a chance every 5 years to cause a revolution peacefully through the ballot. Why don't we take that chance?
David, I'd like to bring you in on this conversation, because what Mweke is bringing up has come up so many times. But how do you blame the young people for electing the same people who some of them claim have lied to them? The promise was there's going to be 1.3 million jobs. I voted to you based on that. I took your word for it. You said it would be created every year. You did not. How then do you blame the young people for electing the same people who lied to them?
The same people that IBC cleared to be on the ballot.
You know, we are products of nature and nurture. The young people live in a society where the older ones have done the same things, have gotten away with it, and gotten away with it. The young people live in societies where their own parents have voted based on tribe,
right,
as the fundamental basis for voting, not on track record. The young people have been witnesses and have been nurtured in a way that questioning some of these things becomes wrong. So that when you start conversations around, no, we are not able, don't lie to us that you are on this party, tell us what you have done to us, and the whole village will shut you out and say, no, here we belong to this party. Hapa ni Jubilee, hapa ni ODM, hapa ni nini, where there haven't been structures. The young people have ended up being disappointed. And yes, the young people too have a responsibility to stand on their own, disapprove those who have gone ahead of them, and create something new, create a new generation of well-behaved and well-voting and well-meaning citizens for this country. But by the time you produce these young people to be citizens, nurture has weighed them down so badly, their lenses are warped. Now, there is work to do among our young people. But I will not obviously blame our young people for their joblessness. I will not blame them for the estate in which they are. There are multi-tier enablers to job creation. There are policies that have to be created for jobs to be created. These policies, the custodians of policies in this country, are the cabinet secretary, the executive, the CSs. If you have in place CSs who sabotage you, for example, if President Kenyatta feels that the former CS for agriculture was sabotaging him, and yet this is the sector that ought to provide quite a massive chunk of jobs for our young people, then you are certain that those policies will not be implemented. But the president has to take a blame for it just as much. Because how do you know that you have an ineffective person and let him stay on for so long and just keep warning him until by the time you're firing him 1 year down the line, the damage done in terms of inability to contribute to your goal of jobs per year is irreparable. Then you have the counties. We went for a devolved structure of governance, devolved system. We envisaged that the maladies and problems that we have at national level would to some extent be cured at the local levels. People like Kivuta Kibwana decided if the president promises to create a manufacturing plant in every county and is taking forever, I am going to create a plant for the people who live here, who have had mangoes falling over and having nothing from them, and build a fruit factory for them, and organize them in cooperatives, and ensure that they have money in their pockets. What have other governors done?
Correct.
When we talk about creating jobs, we need to understand that it is a responsibility of every leader in their small way. The member of parliament has a task and a charge as a legislator to create laws and ensure they follow through with those laws to have the jobs created. But what do, most of them? They have become ashamed. Some have worked diligently, excellently, tried creating laws that buffer Kenyans from these problems we have. But most, to even imagine that 10,000 shillings would be paid to a member of parliament in a bathroom so that they literally muddy a task force report on sugarcane farming or plant or sugar industry. Yet the entire Western and Nyanza region have survived with that as the backbone of their economy. And here are people taking 10,000 shillings, fuel from here to my village and back.
David, did they get re-elected?
So, some did.
That's my point. The problem, you re-elect somebody who has completely destroyed your life.
But the people who bought, just for the sake of this conversation, the people who were bought have been bought in this term. We just need to enlist them. Name and shame, front page, paper one. People who voted against the task force report. Now, whether they will come and tell us they were paid or not is another thing. Did they vote to mess up the economy of a region willfully?
Yeah.
All right? So these conversations must be had around that. Have we achieved the 1.3 million jobs in this country? I do not think so. But the other problem is, what are the mechanisms that have been put in place to ensure traceability of job creation in this country?
Please note it was 1.3 million every year.
Yeah.
Just one off. Yeah.
We need to take a commercial break
now.
Yes, we'll come.
There are like 10-point agendas here. We'll talk about expanding the free primary school program to now include free-day public secondary schools in Kenya as well. That is one of the promises. But now we are seeing an infrastructural issue.
Right.
But we'll come back to that.
What I want to actually hear from Gabriel when we come back, enjoy with her point, is the issue of, as much as what David has said, you go back and re-elect the same individuals, but look at your options on the ballot.
Who do you have?
We'll be right back.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
We have good options.